Hello. I would like to share some information about Leviticus chapter 18. I think there's often a lot of discourse around this chapter, but it's usually reduced to a debate about one specific topic. You can probably tell by the subheading, Laws of Sexual Morality is usually reduced down to talking about homosexuality, and there's all sorts of debate about it. But this chapter is actually very comprehensive. It's a comprehensive holiness code dealing with Israel's identity. And when I say Israel, I'm talking about the covenantal people within the Bible, especially the Old Testament. It's dealing with their identity, boundaries, and moral distinctiveness from the nations around them. So everything it's telling them not to do, everybody around them was definitely doing that. When we read the whole thing, the message becomes much bigger and clearer, so we can have a full understanding that it's not just about homosexuality. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I just want to break down some things. So first, the context. It's a call to be different, like I just said. God is telling Israel not to imitate the practices of Egypt, which is where they came from, and not to imitate the practices of Canaan, that's the promised land, which is where they're going to. This is way before they even get there. But he was like, hey, let me tell you this. And all throughout the Old Testament, before they get there, there's constant reminders. Those cultures, they were known for sexual exploitation, incest, child sacrifice, ritual prostitution, pedophilia, homosexuality, bestiality. There was all sorts of blurred family boundaries. I already said incest, so lots of stuff going on. Their worship was tied around sexual acts. Like, that was very big for them. So this whole chapter is God saying, you are not like them. You are mine. Live differently. This isn't the only chapter. So please don't feel like I'm saying that that this is the only chapter saying that. It's primarily about protecting vulnerable people. Most of Leviticus 18 deals with the incestuous and exploitative relationships. In fact, it starts with the incestuous relationships. No parent and child relationship, no siblings, grandchildren, in-laws, aunt, uncle, stepbrother, stepsister, people under someone's authority. It's talking about that. And yes, the Bible does consider step or in-law or someone under your authority. It's considering that as incestuous as well. These are laws to protect women, children, servants, the powerless, and yes, men and even animals. In these ancient cultures, these boundaries did not exist. So this is quite radical for that time. This is condemning sexual practices tied to idolatry. A lot of people may not understand that homosexuality or lots and lots of things, abortion, child sacrifice is modern day child sacrifice to Moloch. But that's what this chapter is about. It's talking about adultery, bestiality, child sacrifice to Moloch. That's why we can't just skip to the part about man lying with a man. We have to look exactly, how do we get there? What are the verses surrounding that? These things that I'm listing, these were not private sins. These were not lifestyle choices as we know them today. These are part of religious rituals and pagan worship. God is drawing a line between his people and pagan temple practices. Only one verse addresses same-sex relations. Here, not in the whole Bible, but here in chapter 18. And it appears in a list of exploitative, idolatrous, or boundary-breaking acts. The whole chapter is not a manifesto about one group of people. It is a holistic call to sexual ethics, family protection, and covenant identity. This is a big, big deal because once they start getting involved with all this stuff, this is not because they're born that way or they feel a certain, I'm in love with somebody. No, they understand completely that this is part of temple worship. This is how you honor these gods. That's why you always see them kind of grouped together. Child sacrifice, homosexuality, bestiality. Now, in today's modern terms, you might call it LGBTQ, you might call it gay, you might call it furries, you might call it abortion or healthcare or whatever, feminism, things like that. that does not change the fact of what it is, especially you be honest with yourself. A lot of people who are involved with those things are very open about the fact that they're witches or psychics, or they worship Satan or Baphomet. So be honest with yourself about that. Um, what was I going to say? The main point of chapter 18 is the chapter ends with God saying the land vomited out the nations who practice these things. But why? Why is he saying that? Because these behaviors destroy families, exploit the vulnerable. You could throw pornography into this as well. That's part of that temple ritualistic temple worship, corrupt worship, and it breaks down society. The message is not focused on one singular sin. The message is live in a way that protects people, honors God, and reflects holiness. Now, we've been in agreement with this for a long time, so I know that can be hard to hear. But what all this means for us today, and you can read Leviticus 18 yourself, but what this means for us today, all these boundaries, these are boundaries that God set for us. The protection of is for the protection of the vulnerable, like I said before, the rejection of exploitation, the call to holiness, and the danger of weaponizing scripture selectively. This is what all this means to us today. When we weaponize scripture selectively, whether you're somebody who's a believer or not, when you take things out of context, things become very dangerous. I know that hearing me say things like this, hearing other people say that they don't support homosexual lifestyles, transgender, furry, child sacrifice, there might be certain words that you want me to say. I know that there are things that can be frustrating about hearing that, but it has to be said. This is not a chapter about targeting one group. It's a chapter about God shaping a community and a people that look like him. That's what it's about. It's not, there is no such thing as homophobia in this time. There is no such thing as that. There is no such thing as the idea of LGBTQ or gay. That's not how it works. I hope this was helpful, y'all. I understand it may not be fun to hear, but I just wanted to share this in case it is helpful to somebody. I love you and have a blessed day.